Peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is my fourth anniversary from being home after being incarcerated for 7 years at the age of 18. So I want to kind of like recap of some of the things that kind of like were said to me when I was in prison and like how it's been since being home. And I came home 2016 and then I enrolled in school. I started like that fall and I've been in college. I dealt with a lot of things from homelessness, from like figuring it out, like where I'm gonna get money from, being discriminated because of my felonies, not getting housing because of that, not getting jobs because of that, been fired from jobs because of that. So it's a rocky, turbulent, transition to come home to that type of stuff. So like, I don't want to make it seem like it was like some easy because I'm still not in a position that I kind of like want to be. But the point is that I'm still like working and I'm still like striving to be there. But some of the things that were said to me, like, I converted to Islam when I was in prison. So, I used to be Crip. So people used to have this thing about like, I get it. There's a lot of Crips that go to prison and they turn Muslim because they're like scared or because they fear or for whatever reasons they do it, right? So that used to be one of like my problems because people used to like feel like I wasn't genuine when I converted to Islam. So sometimes people used to say like, you're gonna go back home and gangbang. You only doing it because you scared, or you only doing it because of this or because of that. And like that was something that like kind of like used to get under my skin. But I knew at the end of the day that like what I was doing it for was like to build a relationship with my Lord. I knew I wanted to get closer to Him. I knew like this was something that like Islam actually saved my life in a lot of ways. It taught me to be patient. It taught me to have like some kind of like control over like my emotions, some kind of like control over my action. It taught me discipline. And these are the things that helped me in prison and moments where I felt like I wanted to do something to somebody or I wanted to like harm somebody because I felt like I needed to prove something. But Islam gave me discipline that I needed to like know myself and know that I needed to like not feel like I had to prove something. So the point is, a lot of people thought like, oh, you're gonna go back home and gangbang. You're gonna go back home and do whatever you've been doing. This is just a front, like you just in jail fronting, like everybody come to jail and tell like a story to their girls, to their moms, like they're changed and this and that. So this is some of the things that I was dealing with when I was in prison. So it feels good to come home and actually not be gangbanging and kind of like prove these people wrong. Another thing, the counselors in prison, they said that because I didn't have no visits while I was in prison, they didn't know that I told people not to come see me or whatever the case might be, that I didn't want to like go through the stripping process in the visit floor. They didn't know that. But to them it was like, because you didn't have no visits while you was up here, then that means you don't got no type of support. Another thing, like I told people not to really send me money. I got a job, I worked. I didn't want to be a liability and a burden on my family, so I did my own thing to get money. So because I didn't get money sent in, they had, all these different things that they did, the surveys and assessment. So they determined that like I probably didn't have no resources when I got home. I probably wasn't gonna have no family support. So they concluded that I would return to prison based on these things. So it feels good to kind of like be home, getting off parole, no police contact, no issues. Excuse me. So it kind of like feels good, right? Like all these people had like these negative things to say, right? Nobody really had like no positive thing to say about like, he was coming home. So it feels good to be home. I'm 3 classes away from graduating and like, working in my community and trying to like be the example, right? Kind of like show people that, yeah, it's hard. Yeah, like you might fall back into some traps because some people, this is all they know. All they know is like how they was raised about and what they was taught and what they learned and what they see around them. But it feels good to be like that difference in the community. It feels good to be like that person that is like, yo, Vic was just like you, homie. Like, Vic held guns, Vic harmed people, Vic robbed people. Vic did a lot of things that he's seen in his community, right? But then it's also showing them like, but Vic is also doing something different now. Vic is also going to school now, right? Vic is also like not indulging in some of these things now, So I think like that is like the start, man. Like more people kind of like being involved in the community that kind of like have the same kind of paths of these people that we trying to save. or that we trying to guide and like shift them in a different way. And I think like that is like a beautiful thing, you know. But tell me what y'all think. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.